right, welcome back. We have our newest podcast today, and I want to welcome you to Inside Look, South Jersey Girls Basketball. I have a special guest, Miss Bella Runyan. Bella, would you say hello, please?
Hello.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to be here and be on your
Oh, this
podcast,
is
and thank you
very,
for
very
having me.
exciting. I know I mentioned it before, but I was really looking forward to interviewing you. I got an opportunity to know your family when your brother was about 4 or 5. I taught him karate. He was in my karate class, and your parents have just been wonderful people. They're very friendly. They're very accommodating. Your mom's been very encouraging over the years, and I just have been following all of your careers actually. I can't wait to watch your brother in the NFL. But I've been watching your careers and I've seen you grow and develop. And this is a real special treat for us. So we're going to get started and we'll go from there. So I know you just recently graduated. So what high school did you attend?
I went to Moorestown Friends School since I was in preschool. So it wasn't just high school. It was every school that I went from lower school, middle school, and high school there, which was definitely different and interesting, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was the best decision to decide to stay there for high school, and I had the best 15 years of
So
my
can you
life
give us an
there.
idea? How big is your graduating class? How many kids were in the class?
So there were 77 kids, but that's not even that many people because you're with them every single day for at least 4 years. So, like, you know everyone by the back of their head, like, easily, and you know everyone's first and last names easily. And, like, literally, you get to know, like, everyone's backpack, like, what it looks like. Like, I always found that interesting. Like, you always know who someone is just by, like, them walking, like, 10 yards ahead of you.
Well, I have
So.
to ask you a question. So out of those 77 kids, how many of those kids you think started in like maybe preschool or kindergarten and went all the way up through?
So it's actually called being an original if you've been at Morristown Friends since they just switched it this year to if you've been there since first grade, but it used to be kindergarten. So there's 23 of us that were there since first grade.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And I think there was 13 since preschool.
Wow, that's amazing. That's really awesome. So,
Hmm.
why don't you tell us a little bit about your family? Tell us about your parents, your siblings. Tell us what it was like being in the Runyon family.
Yeah, so my parents met in Houston, Texas, because my dad, he was drafted to the Houston Oilers. They no longer exist. But my mom, she was a cop, a Houston police officer, and they met at a bar just through one of my mom's friends. And then I guess they quickly hit it off because they had my brother very quickly after that and got married. And then the Houston Oilers were going to turn into the Tennessee Oilers. So my dad, he had to move to Tennessee, and my mom just went with him. And then while in Nashville, they had my sister, and then you know how it goes. He gets traded again to the Eagles, and they settle down in South Jersey, and they have me here. So all three of my siblings were born in different states, which is really cool. But yeah, and then ever since then, we've settled in South Jersey, obviously.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, I know that your dad grew up in Michigan, and he ended up going to school at Michigan, and then your brother went to St. Joe's Prep, and then Michigan, and now following in your dad's footsteps. So, this is going to be really fun, to talk about your growth, your development, how your family kind of influenced you growing up and things like that. But this is just fantastic. I know that you're a local young lady here, so you live in Mount Laurel, and you're getting ready to go to college at Villanova, which we'll talk a little bit later. And you have an older brother and an older sister, so Jon Daniel and Alyssa, and I'm sure they kind of influenced you. So, what was tell me about your childhood. What was it like growing up in Mount Laurel?
Um, it was definitely different just because I didn't grow up in a neighborhood. I grew up like very secluded, just like down a long driveway. but I had a lot to do, and I had a pool, and we had woods, and we had quads. So like I was a little bit of a tomboy growing up. Like I just wanted to get dirty and like hit the mud on the quad. So I mean, I think my mom kind of didn't like it, liked it, but liked it at the same time because I wasn't so high maintenance because I didn't care if I smelled or I didn't care if like there was mud all over me. But then she also at times was like, "Bella, will you brush your hair, please?" Like, but it definitely taught me to be a lot more independent, and it made me very close, which with my sister, and I wasn't too close with my brother growing up just because you're so far in age. But I think like at times we felt a little trapped just because we were so young, and me and my sister, we made the best out of that, and we've just been like so close like since we were little, and we still like even when she went to college, when she comes back, it's just like she didn't even leave. So it taught me to be a lot more independent and to entertain myself. So
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I love the fact that you have a strong relationship with your family. I have to ask you, what was it like to grow up as the daughter of a professional football player? I mean, and I remember watching your dad because I'm a big Eagles fan, and watching him, he's basically in every offensive play. He was always on TV. He was a big driving force on the Eagles, offensive line along with Trey Thomas. So I remember growing, and they were like, a strong, strong team back then. And your dad's,
yeah.
just an amazing player, an amazing person. But, tell me what it's like to be the child of a professional, athlete.
I mean, at the time that it was happening, I was it's like since birth, obviously, to like first or second grade when he retired. So during that time, I thought I was a completely just like normal kid, and I knew my dad was like playing on that field like when I was watching, but I didn't think it was like so cool. Like I just thought like, oh, like that's dad's job. Like he just has to go and like play on the field. And like to be honest, I never even would like watch him like I would like do now when when I'm watching my brother play, like all I do is watch him. But like I wasn't even like I was just watching the game, and like I understood the rules even when I was young, but at the time I didn't really think much of it, but I think that that's what kind of like humbled me as I got older, and I realized like, oh, like my dad played for the Eagles and we live in South Jersey, like this is kind of a big deal for Eagles fans who are the best and like freak out when they see him. But now, being the daughter of a former athlete, I don't. I mean, like when people first meet me, like, and if they don't know who he is, like I'm just a regular kid. Like I'm a student. I'm going to college. Like I'm just like everyone else. But when they figure out that like who my dad is, it's like, oh my God, what? Like, can I meet him? Like, what's he like? Like, blah blah. And it kind of changes. But at the same time, like I'm still Bella, and I think people realize that like, oh, like she doesn't act any different than anyone else would. And I think what like I said earlier, like I think it really humbled me to like be able to grow up, and when I was little because I was so innocent, I was like there's nothing different about me, and that's how I still feel now.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, like I said, your parents are very approachable. They're very friendly. And, your dad was, a politician for some time. So he was always going into different communities. I would run into him in different events. And like I said, he's like a normal, average, person when you meet him. He doesn't think that or act that he's, better than anybody. He'll look anybody in the eye, and he'll spend time with anybody that wants to, talk or even just to say hello, which is phenomenal. So I think that kind of rubbed off on you too. And being humble is something that's really important. In life you just never know, and I think we can't take things for granted. And I think we do have to be humble. We have to be kind towards others. So I have to ask you. So what was it like being the youngest sibling? Was there any pressure? Your brother is an athlete. He's in the NFL now. Your older sister was an athlete as well, and she was just tremendous. And now here you are. You're coming along. You're the third person. You're the younger sister. You're the baby of the family. What was it like?
Um, I would say it made me very, very competitive, if anything. And there, it was good at the same time that it was very frustrating to have two like amazing athletes to look up to. And we would spend most of our days just like literally pushed to each other during like pickup basketball games just like because we all wanted to win so badly. So, um I mean, I guess there was a little pressure, and the only time I felt that was when I was about to be a freshman and my sister was like the best athlete at Moorestown Friends School, and I was having to, be like, okay, well, what's Bella got? So I think that was the most pressure I felt going into like that soccer season and going into obviously that basketball season. But Alyssa would always tell people, I guess, like, no, like I might have her in soccer, but like she's a lot better than me at basketball. So, and I think we have a good relationship like that where we didn't like let it affect our relationship if one of us was better at one sport or the other. But that also kind of helped because soccer was hers, was my sport going into high school. We might have both played it, but I think that was kind of like an agreement that you can be the soccer player and I can be the basketball player, but that's what we both enjoyed more, and we both played out of school because she didn't play basketball out of school, I didn't play soccer out of school. So there were times in practices with Alyssa where it did get a little feisty. Like I can remember one time we were playing, it was basketball practice, and she like put her elbow right into the center of my chest, and I think I like screamed at her. But then after we got in the car and we were fine. And that's kind of how it goes with your siblings, and it still happens like without sports today. Like we just get in a fight and then we're fine 5 minutes later.
Yeah, it's just like normal everyday sibling, rivalries, which is good.
Yep.
So what do you do besides basketball? What kind of hobbies do you have?
I would say, I mean, outside of basketball, I just like to stay active in general. Like I like to run a lot, I like to bike a lot. Um, and I really like, obviously I like eating, but not just eating. Like I like to try a bunch of different foods, and obviously I would love to travel more, but with basketball like in the summers, I never really got to do that. I still haven't gone to Europe, and that's like a big dream of mine to be able to do that and hopefully study abroad if I can while doing that. So I really love to travel, and I also really like the beach, and we're looking to buy a house soon. So I would love that because I've never had a beach house, but being able to sit on the beach all day is like the most relaxing thing for me.
Yeah, that's really awesome. My mom just actually bought a beach house in Wildwood, and we never really went to the beach much. I mean, here and there, day trips, but during the pandemic, we were doing a lot of painting and repairing and things like that every weekend. So we finally got a chance, after Memorial Day, and going to the beach was just fantastic. The kids would play, make sandcastles. The little kids would dig holes. We'd go boogie boarding. We'd have lunch on the beach. It's just a nice time because it was just our family and we really enjoyed it. So I'm excited for you. I think you'll enjoy it with your family. You can, chill out, relax, and have some fun. So I want to ask you a
Yeah.
couple questions about that. So you talked about traveling. So what's one place that you've been to that really left a big impression on you and that you love? Like, what's your favorite place that you've been to?
So, at Morristown Friends, they have a program called Intensive Learning, and it's a week out of the year, at the end of March usually, and it's a week before spring break. And junior or senior typically you go on an abroad trip. So it's some of them are out of the country, but then some of them are like in Florida or Arizona or South Carolina. But my junior year, I went to Martinique, and Martinique's like a little island in the Caribbean, and it's a French territory, so they spoke French. The reason I went on it is because they were gonna say like we're not doing the trip because not enough French speakers like signed up for it. So then they opened it up to everyone, and I was like an island on the Caribbean, like let's go. I'm obviously gonna go. So and I was going with like my really good friends too, so that was also fun. So but what made that trip so special was the service part. And my favorite part was for 3 days, we went to an elementary school and basically, like, we were teaching the kids English, but like we got to just like play with them. But like I said, like I didn't take French, I took Spanish, and I could not catch on to French. Like I was forgetting how to say thank you, and I was forgetting how to say bye. Like I was getting all the words messed up. But being able to talk to these little kids and like we were communicating with them in such a different way, like that it made it so special. Like we didn't have to have a full on conversation with them to have fun with them, and just to see like the conditions they lived in and like what their school looked like, obviously compared to Moorestown Friends and the schools around us. Like it was really touching, and they were so cute that they thought that we were celebrities from America, and they were asking for our autographs. But it was just moments like that that was it really touched me. And we I think one day we weren't supposed to go back, but we were like, no, can we please go back? Like, can we please? Because we could stay there for hours without even being able to talk to these kids and just have so much fun.
That sounds like a great experience. Now you talked about trying foods. So what's your favorite like food that you like, and then maybe talk about if there's any kind of food that you want to try, or any restaurants or any kind of places you want to go to.
I would say I have a lot. Okay, I have a few favorite foods. So like American food, I would say just like chicken wings. And then my favorite, like, of other cultures, I love sushi so much. And then I also love Mexican food, but like not like Pancheros is good, Chipotle is good. But when I went to Texas a few months ago, like going to the taquerias, like that Mexican food.
That sounds good. All right,
Yeah.
so around here, what are you recommending for wings? Like, what's your go-to place? So your mom or dad says, "Okay, Belle, let's celebrate, your grades or a great game," and you're like, "Okay, let's go for wings." Where are you gonna go?
Obviously PJ's.
PJ's Wings. How do you like your wings?
I like them honey barbecue or mild, depends on my mood. But I also, at PJ's, you can ask them to give you the all flats. So they're just easier to eat. I know there's not on them as the drumsticks, but yeah, all flats.
That's funny because my girls like the flats too, which I don't, and I never could figure it out. Like coming up through all the years, they would always eat the flat. So if like we ordered a dozen wings and there was only five flats, I'd make out on the deal. You know what I mean? But I don't know. It's just one of those things that kind of like always baffled me. I couldn't figure out why they wouldn't eat them. But like if you think it's easier to eat, maybe that's the reason why they were always like the flats. Now, how
I
about
yeah.
sushi? What's your favorite like sushi dish to order?
Um I mean, my favorite, like, I don't know why. I think it was like the first sushi I ever ate was a tuna roll when I was really little. So raw tuna is so good to me. But honestly, like, I keep it simple and I'll just get like a tuna avocado roll because I really like avocado too. So if I'm going, I'll get like a tuna avocado roll or a salmon avocado roll. And then my sister always orders these fancy ones, and sometimes we'll get boat, and I'm really not, but if I'm gonna order, I'm gonna get a tuna avocado
That's
roll.
pretty awesome. So Mexican,
Yeah.
you mentioned Mexican. So where's your place here that you would go in South Jersey to eat Mexican food?
Um, I mean, it's not real Mexican, but Pancheros. It
So
tastes
you like
really good.
you
The
like Pancheros
burritos.
over Chipotle?
Yes, just because I rather eat a burrito than a bowl. It's more fun, I guess, to eat a burrito than a bowl. And the burritos, I've heard that the bowl, I've never had a bowl from Pancheros, but I've had a burrito from Chipotle. And I've heard that the burritos at Pancheros are the way to go, and then the bowls at Chipotle are better than the bowls at
I would
Pancheros.
actually agree with that, but I would say that Moe's Southwest Grill has the best salsas around because they have like different like a salsa bar. That's the reason why I like to go there because I want to try their super hot salsa or they have all kinds of stuff there. So it's like I wish they could just take a little bit of each restaurant and put it together and then make the restaurant, you know what I mean, a special one for you know.
Yeah, I completely know because then I know like the queso at Pancheros is so much better than the queso at Chipotle too. But I and the queso at Qdoba is actually really good too.
So I think
But I don't like Qdoba other
oh,
bowls.
that's too funny. Well, one of these days, you know what I mean. You have to just do a taco run and go from one to the next and do like a little taste test.
Oh yeah, that'd be the
Well, let's get
best.
back on basketball. So, what do you enjoy the most about the game of basketball?
I think what I enjoy the most about the game is just like the relationships that I've formed from it with my teammates, with my coaches, and the opportunities that it's given me and that it's going to give me in the future. Like I said, like it's so much bigger than just playing in a game. Like it goes beyond just dribbling a ball. Like it's about the teamwork within the game and how you make friendships off the court and the opportunities that literally a ball can give you for your future, whether that's just future connections like in a job if you want to get into coaching, or whether that's obviously getting a scholarship for college and then starting your dream career, like things. So I would have to say like the relationships I've made and the opportunities that it's given me and that it's going to give me in the future.
That's great. So, when did you start playing basketball?
So I started playing first grade. I played rec for Mount Laurel, and I remember we were the purple lava. I don't know. I remember that so well, and I still remember everyone that was on my team and my coaches because one of my coaches ended up being my soccer coach, like all through like middle school until I stopped playing.
Pretty cool. So, what was your earliest like basketball like memory? What do you remember about basketball when you were a little kid?
I honestly remember playing in that first game ever, like my first basketball game ever, and the score was 2-0. And I remember what girl on my team from where I remember we were at Hillside Elementary in Mount Laurel. And I just remember being so excited to play just because I had these new shoes on and everything. But after that game, I don't remember any other game from like second grade, but I do remember in third grade I was playing rec for Mount Laurel again, and um I don't know what came about, but I scored 27 points like in a rec game. And I don't even like remember knowing like now I guess you can be like, "Oh, like I can tell like I'm scoring a lot." But I don't remember like I was little and innocent and I guess I didn't know like I wasn't like passing the ball, I guess, to the other girls or maybe I was trying to and I was like they weren't making it, so I would just go get a rebound and put it right back up. Because I remember them all just being like rebound, putting it back up. Like I don't think I was like driving into the lane or anything. But after the game, the coach he was like, next game, like you have to like make sure the other girls score like as much as you. And like I remember being upset because I didn't mean to like I don't remember like hogging the ball, but I guess maybe I was a little bit, but I really didn't mean to be. I just wanted to win the game.
That's too funny. So, what other sports did you play growing up?
So, the first sport I started playing was soccer, and I started playing that in I think like kindergarten. Yeah. And then I also played softball for 2 years. And my sister, she played that for a little bit longer than me. I think she played till like fifth grade, but I wasn't a big fan of softball. But I did love soccer. And then I also would play tennis every single summer. And I would get, as the summer would go on, like by the end of summer, I would actually get pretty good. But it was just a summer thing. Like I never like kept up with it. And then obviously basketball. But I played lacrosse in high school, but I didn't actually start playing lacrosse until eighth grade.
Wow. Seems like you tried a lot of different things, and then you kind of honed your focus on basketball, soccer, and lacrosse, and then going into high school. So, as far as basketball, what position do you play?
So, on my AAU team, I would play a small forward usually, but and then at Moorestown Friends is like when I came in as a freshman, I remember talking to my dad and he was like, "Yeah, you're gonna be playing the point guard." Like, and I was like, "Oh, that'll be so fun." So I remember telling, like, I just told like Mr. Brunswick, like, I want to be the point guard, and he was like, "Yeah, obviously," but I didn't know like that was obvious. But then I was playing point guard until Muffin came, and we're both guards, but she's more of a point guard. But we were both like bringing the ball up. Like there was different plays for like when she was gonna bring the ball up or when I was gonna bring the ball up, or maybe like one of us was getting more pressure than the other. So I would say like my junior and senior year, like I was playing like point guard, shooting guard sometimes.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
kind of floats and fluctuates depending on the game situation and the matchup, which is pretty cool. So I want to ask you to
Yeah,
like
definitely.
think about this for a second, but if you could choose any word to describe yourself, what would it be and why?
Um, I think I would pick like competitive, obviously, just because that's how like my whole life is like. I don't know if this is like a good thing, but it's helped me like become like successful like in the classroom, on the court. Like I kind of turn everything into a competition. Like even in practice, if we're just running, like if we're just doing like ball handling, like I want like my crossovers to be like quicker than yours, and like I want to get to the spot quicker than the person next to me, things like that. Like I'm not like outward about it, but in my mind like everything's a competition. And then like in school, like obviously I'm not gonna be like pressuring people like, oh, what'd you get, just to know if like I did better. But I try to push myself to be like top of the class, and I'm competitive within myself too. Like if I tell like myself like you have to get like this GPA like this quarter, like I compete with like myself to get that. And I think that's also a good thing, that I'm really like another adjective is like I'm very self-motivated, and I don't normally need people to like tell me to do my home, like my parents to like tell me to do my homework, or like you have to go to practice, because like obviously I have to go to practice, obviously I have to do my homework and study. Like that's just how my mind works. So um I guess another word would also be, I really like pride myself, what we were talking about earlier, on being humble, just because I really can't stand when people are just like flashy and like bragging all the time about everything they have, or about sports, or about like grades, anything. Because I was brought up to just not act like that, and my parents have set like a perfect example of that. And my dad in particular, because he was the one that was like the celebrity. Like he is like very frugal with the way he lives, and we kind of like laugh about it, because he will be like, I found all this change in this in this little tube, like go use this change instead of like my cash I have. And we're like, what? Like like just like things like that. And my dad, he doesn't really like to like show off anything. And as I got older, I realized like that's such a better way to just like show yourself to other people. Like you don't want people to like think you're like bragging or being flashy. And yeah, I honestly just thank my parents for that, because it really humbled me just growing up. And I know I was privileged, and I know like I went to like a very prestigious school, and I had like I was on like a very good AAU team, and we like could go travel with them to every tournament. And I know most girls couldn't, but I think being humble is very important, and that's a really good quality to have.
Yeah, I mean, the qualities that you mentioned, competitive. I mean, the one word I was thinking about is that goes along with competitive is just driven. You know, it takes a certain type of person to push themselves to be the best they can be in all that they do, and that's a trait that's going to make you successful, whether you're basketball, soccer, lacrosse, in the classroom, in the workforce, even as a parent. And I hope that's something that you would instill in your own family as you're growing, as you get older and you create a family. These qualities that you have, I mean, just like your parents have instilled in you, it's going to be important when you're raising your family, which is fantastic. Now I know you're a humble person, and I'm probably going to catch you off guard here a little bit, but you know I know that you've had a lot of accolades in sports and in the classroom. And I mean, if we sat here and listed all the things, I think it would be like overwhelming. But can you like maybe talk about one or two things that you're most proud of that you've earned or been recognized for, maybe with basketball or with school, that you'd want to share with the listeners?
Yeah, so I would think one of the things I'm like very proud of is I won. It's called like the Herm Mcgee Award, which is awarded to like a female and male athlete who is just, I guess, very like obviously sportsmanship is in it, but I guess they're just very good at their sports. And usually it goes to like a two or three sport athlete. Like it never usually goes to like someone that's just like very good at one sport. So I think that really honors me because I don't try to just like give basketball my all because like I just really enjoy playing sports in general. Like I don't just enjoy playing basketball. I enjoy like all of my teams and they're all very different in different ways. So, and all my sports are different and similar in different ways. But getting those awards three times, like every time I get it, it's like another like I can just be like proud of I don't know, like I can just be like proud of myself that like I went through that whole like school year and I gave every single sport and every single practicing game like everything I had, and being able to receive that is like very honoring obviously. And I it wasn't the same obviously this year with corona because I had to get it through like a video, but I still got the little pot they give us. Um but yeah, then to this year, sophomore, junior and senior year. And then when I was a freshman, my sister actually got it. So we have a few of these like bowls in my house. Um, and then I would say another one, this is more like academics, is if you are an athlete and you have a 3.7 or higher and play two varsity sports, then you're called like a scholar athlete. So I was like driven to get this 3.7 um all, and you have to get it all year too. So my freshman year, I never got it. And I think I was like, trying to get used to high school and playing three sports. And freshman year was very hard. And then my sophomore year, I went in and I was like, I'm getting a 3.7 all year. And then I ended up keeping a 3.7 like minimum my beginning my sophomore year until I graduated. So getting the scholar athlete, like I got it at the end of my senior year because I was also playing two varsity sports. That is just another moment where I can be proud of myself and like say I did it. Although it was hard, like I did it.
That's pretty awesome. I'm looking at like this list of achievements and things like that. And one of the things I was looking at is your total points. I mean, how many points did you score as a basketball athlete at Moorestown Friends?
I think it was like 1,781 or something like
Wow.
that. It was 1,700 something.
So you scored 1,700, and it says you're the second leading scorer in school history. Who was the highest leading scorer?
Her name's Jessica McNeil, and she has like 2,300, something crazy.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, that's a great accomplishment. That's something you should be proud of. I mean, that's fantastic in itself as well. So these are great, and I know, like I said, I mean, all Friends League, all Burlington County, all South Jersey, SJBIT. So I mean, there's just so many different accolades that you've earned, and I think it comes with all of the hard work you've been putting in through all the years. So I want you to think about yourself as a player now, and I want you to kind of think about the way you play, and maybe why don't you talk about some strengths that you have as a player.
I would say some strengths I have is I have like both guard skills and like a little bit of forward skills. Like I can finish at the rim while playing down low, but I also can shoot and have ball handling. Um, I like another strength I have as a player is this is like I guess not really like basketball, but with my teammates, I feel as if I don't want to like toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm a pretty good like leader and captain to like the younger girls. But more with basketball, I think I finish very well at the rim with both hands, and I think I know like obviously everything has room for improvement, but I just have pretty good guard skills for how tall I am.
Yeah, that's pretty fantastic. So I know I mentioned this before we even got on the podcast, but I remember watching you, and I did watch you play soccer, growing up because I saw your dad one day, and you were playing on the front field, and my daughter was playing on the back field, and I kind of ran into him, so I was talking to your parents, and then I remember watching you. And the first game I ever watched you was, I believe, during your junior year, and it was the semifinals of the SJBIT, and it was Moorestown Friends versus Eastern. And I remember just watching you run the point, drive to the basket, get rebounds, shooting the ball, playing defense. And all I can think of was, it kind of made me really smile. And the reason why I smiled is, number one, I just loved the way you played. But number two, like, and we talked about this, is you remind me so much of my daughter. Like, I can see you're like an older version of her. The body type is the same, the wingspan is the same, the style of play is the same. I mean, obviously, you're among a lot further along as far as your offensive skills, but it's something that I hope that she will develop, as she gets older. But that's one of the things I think that I like about your game is I think it reminds me so much of my daughter, and it gives me like something to be excited about and something to look forward to as she develops. So I just want to say that I just really love your game, and I can't wait to follow you at Villanova, which is going to be fantastic. So that's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
great experience. So we talked about your strengths. Let's talk about maybe some areas that you need to work on or you want to work on to get ready for Villanova, like to make yourself a better player and to be ready for the next level. What do you want to work on, or what do you think you need to work on?
Like I said, everything like needs room for improvement, but I think the main things that I need to work on is just getting my shot off faster because I know Villanova, their women's team's always known for like their shooters. They've always been really good shooters. So getting my shot off faster, obviously more efficiently, and just getting bigger, stronger, faster because I'm playing at like a higher level. So I know I definitely like put on some weight just cuz like my lanky self isn't going to be able to drive through the lane as easily anymore. I might get bumped around. So obviously I want to work on that, and I would also say just like finishing in general, like everything has room for improvement. Being able to finish on the fly and not just go for like a normal like a regular layup, like if someone is about to block me, switching hands and things like that.
That's fantastic. So let's go into your basketball season or your basketball career. So tell us a little bit about what it's like to be a member of the Morristown Friends School basketball team. What's it like? Or tell us about your coach. Tell us about your teammates. Tell us about the atmosphere. What's it like?
I like it was like 100%. Obviously everyone's gonna say this about their team, but it was like the best team, and it was the best 4 years on that high school team that like I could have. So our coach is Mike Brunswick, and he was the dean of students until this year. So he was sacrificing like a lot of time, and like these were his girls, like this was his team. So and we were treated just like that. Like we might have been like favorites to the dean just cuz we were his girls, but he puts everything he has into that team. Like he stays up late, and he would put that film up at midnight before he would go to sleep. And then if he didn't, he would be like, I'm so sorry, like I couldn't get the film up. And I'm like, it's okay, like I went to sleep early, like you can do the same sometimes. So Mr. Brunswick, I'm really gonna miss him, not even just as a coach, but he was a mentor, and he was a person you could talk to, and he always had an open door, and he always wanted to talk to you. And then obviously with my teammates, we had from my freshman year, like just our team had a connection like we didn't really see on any of the other teams. And we would joke and say like girls basketball is a cult just because we would like go everywhere together, and like in the winter we would just always be at each other's houses. Um like sometimes we would just watch film at each other's houses, or we would watch a scary movie and have a pasta party, or just go out to eat after a Saturday practice. And it was things like that that made our team just so close. Even when seniors were graduating off, like there was still girls on the remaining girls that knew how to keep the team close, and like what to do to keep the team close. So I mean, some of my best friends are on that team, and some of them are 3 years younger than me, just because they were freshmen or they were sophomores, so they're 2 years younger than me. And being able to have a relationship like that is so beneficial, like on the court, because you really see it translate on the court. And when there's issues like off the court, it's so obvious like what's that something's wrong. So it was the best. It was the best team. It was the best coach I could ask for, and obviously to represent the best school.
That just sounds like fun, and I'm sure that if you were to ask any female athlete, any basketball player, they would probably say the same thing. It's that school pride, that sense of belonging, being loyal to your school, and that's what high school is all about. And I think that's just fantastic. So, what's this age difference between you and your sister as far as grades? Like, what's the grade difference? So, what when you were a freshman, what grade was Alyssa in?
She was a junior, and then so we got to play 2 seasons together. And then when I was a sophomore, she was a senior.
So what was it like playing with your sister for 2 years? Like how would you describe that experience?
It was just so like I don't know what other word to use except just like fun, and obviously convenient for my parents, and fun for my parents because we never really were on a team together. Sometimes we would play in like a soccer tournament together, but this we were like on an actual team together. And I think that's what made us like even we got like extra close in high school, because when she could drive, like in the beginning of her junior year, she would be driving me to school, and then we'd go to practice together. She would drive me home. We would get something to eat together. Like we were always together. And like I miss playing with her so much, and she always says it to me. Like she wasn't really having that much fun with sports. Like, and then she said when I came, like it just gave her like I don't know. She just said she had so much more fun playing just because she had someone like to play with, that our chemistry just like worked so well together, and she liked having that like little tag team and that 1-2 punch as people call it. She liked that a lot, and obviously I liked it too, but it was a no-brainer. Like I knew that there was going to be a spark between us when I started playing sports with her.
Now having your older sister on the team, did you feel that they gave you a little bit of like confidence, or made you feel like not as nervous when you went out to the court and when you joined the team, knowing that your older sister was there and she could look after you?
Like so much, like definitely, just because also I didn't have to worry about like being scared of the upperclassmen because they were all my sister's friends. So they're not going to be mean to me because then my sister will say something. So it gave me a lot of confidence to know, like, I have someone to like ask, like, wait, how do you do this drill? Or like, what does that mean? Like, what are we doing? Because there were a lot of times where, like, Mr. Brunswick's using like his own lingo in practice, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Like, or I would get confused on a play, and she was there to tell me and teach me. By the time she left, I was ready to do that to the younger girls. So being able to have her, like, I was able to ease into soccer and basketball a lot quicker than some of the other freshmen were.
So why don't you think about your basketball career? Do you have like a particular maybe game that you could think about that would be your most memorable, moment in your career?
Um, I can think of a few, but I would say probably the SJBT final, just because we were robbed of two Friends League championships. So being able to win a championship was very memorable. And I would also say probably my sophomore year, we beat Shipley in the semifinals of the Friends League, and they killed us the first time we played them, and we that was like the best game I'd see that team that year play, and it was the best I've ever seen my sister play, actually. So, and being able to see so happy after that game. It felt amazing just because they're like kind of our rivals within the Friends League, definitely for basketball. So that felt amazing. And then lastly, my 1,000th point, although it wasn't really that, like, I thought it was going to be more than it actually was because it was just another right-handed layup. But it was still obviously memorable.
Now, you're talking about your 1,000th point. When did you score it? Do you remember the game and any details about it?
It really wasn't that. It was against Friends Select, and I think we were like up by 20 already when I scored it. So, not that it made it any less special, but it just wasn't as like, exciting because you don't want to be like not like non-sportsmanlike, and like, obviously, like, people came over to me, but we didn't want to like get on a dog pile if we were beating them by like 20 in the second quarter. So, it was still obviously very exciting, but we were winning the game by a lot. And like, to me, it was like, okay, this is just another layup.
Yeah, well, it's something that's special to you and it's something that you'll remember forever. So we're
Yeah.
gonna, yeah, let's transition a little bit because one of the questions I asked a lot of these ladies is about the coronavirus. I mean, we're in a totally new territory now, and for a lot of these girls, they've never had anything disrupt their school. I mean, the coronavirus has really impacted schools across the United States. Here in South Jersey, things have been canceled, spring season. So can you talk a little bit about, how the coronavirus, impacted your senior year? And like, because I'm sure that when you're a senior, you're excited to get your senior pictures, you play your sports, you do all these things. And I'm sure a lot of things got impacted. Can you talk about that?
Um, I would say, obviously, like, my basketball season wasn't impacted. We had like lost our playoff game the Saturday before, like, our last day of school was on that a Friday. We had lost that previous Saturday. So, I mean, if I were taken of my basketball season, I would be like crushed, but I still was very upset to lose, my lacrosse season, to lose our intensive learning where I was gonna go travel. um Also prom. We didn't get our like regular graduation. We didn't get our final awards assembly, and just things that the seniors look forward to at Moorestown Friends, we completely missed out on. So like, I was upset in the moment, but looking back, like, I know everything happens for a reason, and the school did their best to compensate for what we lost, and they gave us an amazing graduation that almost felt like the same thing. They did everything virtual, like we still had our awards assembly and everything. Obviously, it wasn't the same, but they did the best they could, and I'm really glad for that.
That's fantastic. So, first of all, I want to congratulate you on your commitment to play at Villanova. And can you tell the listeners, what impacted you to finally choose Villanova as your next home?
I think there were many reasons, but I went on my first unofficial there when I beginning on my sophomore year. And I was in the presence of like a legend in front of Harry Peretta, and being able to talk to him and just how invested like he was, seeing how invested he was into his team really stuck out to me. But as I was a sophomore, I was still like keeping my options way open. So Villanova like wasn't number one at the like or even number two or number three at the time for me. But as time went on, as my sophomore year went on, and as my whole junior year went on, I could see which coaches were keeping interest in me. And Villanova, they offered me actually, I remember the day and like where I was. I was in my room and it was the day before my birthday, like the night before my birthday. And I remember I was not expecting to, and those were like the best calls, like when you're like completely not expecting to. And I remember being so happy and like more happy than I'd ever been getting offered. So I felt like I was like, oh, like this feels really right. And I remember telling my parents and then being like my dad especially, like he just had like an attraction to everything Villanova had to offer. So as time went on, they stayed like extremely persistent, and other schools did too. But I went on a last unofficial at like all of my top schools, and I just knew like Villanova's where I wanted to be, and I could not be more confident like when I made my decision, and I'm even more confident now that like that is where I belong, and I'm so excited.
That just sounds pretty cool, like the whole experience. Now, I know that you made your commitment in November, and the season goes on, and then it was announced it would be Coach Preda's last year. So the year goes by. They have all these different things to commemorate his last year, and a new coach takes over. And I just want to know, like, what do you think about going to Villanova, knowing that you have a different coach coming in, and what are you excited about with that new opportunity?
Obviously I was upset to hear Harry leave, but I was notified before I even signed my national letter of intent. So I could have decommitted because I was only verbally committed at the time.
Okay.
So when I heard, like, I actually, um, I mean, the assistant coaches and Harry like told me like who was probably gonna get the job, and they were right from like October when they announced it. So I kind of knew this whole time that it was gonna be Coach Dillon, and I could not be more excited to play for her just because she was brought up in the Villanova culture. She played for them, and you know, me and my family have like full trust in her that she's gonna follow Harry's footsteps so well. And, being able to talk to her, I can just tell like she's a great person, and Villanova wouldn't have hired her, and Harry wouldn't have wanted to hire her if she wasn't gonna, carry on this legacy from 42 years of like the Harry Preda era.
Yeah, Coach Dillon's awesome. I mean, we actually were fortunate enough to go to a Drexel game at their home opener this year, and I mean the atmosphere at Drexel was just phenomenal. They're just an amazing team for being a small school right in the heart of the city. And for her to go over to Villanova, she's going to just take the energy with her, which is just fantastic. Which is also great for you. So tell us a little bit about like the school itself. Is it a big school, a small school? Because there's girls out there that are probably looking at different colleges and they want to know like, about the school. So where is it located, and tell us a little bit about it.
Um, It's a pretty small school. It's located um a little bit outside of Philly. It's like near Radnor, but the town is called Villanova. Um I would say I think there's 6,000 people there. There might be a little less or more, but I really enjoyed the location of it because it wasn't in the city, but it's also very easy to get to the city. And also, it's also very close to my house. So that makes it very convenient too. Um, and then yeah, that's basically it. That was a big decision for me was how far I wanted to go. And I liked seeing how like often I could see my brother, which was literally like twice in a season. I didn't want to put that like burden on my parents again that they have to like drive 12 hours to go see me or I have to go drive 12 hours to see them. I knew I wanted to be close by learning from where how much I could see my siblings when they went to college. I've never seen my sister like while she was in classes. Like I've only seen her during breaks. But being an athlete, I know it's going to be different and I didn't I wanted to stay close to my family and I didn't want my family to feel like they couldn't come see me for an emergency whenever they want because they couldn't when, my brother got injured. They couldn't go fly. They had to wait like 2 days to fly out there. Like I would want my family to be there with me at that moment.
Yeah, I hear you. It's nice to be able to be close to home. I mean, your parents can come, you know, visit you whenever you need them. They can support your games. You can pop home anytime you wanted to, visit your family, your coaches. You can follow along with your Moorestown Friends school team. The campus, just is beautiful. I mean, I've driven there. I actually remember that was one of the schools I got accepted to when I was coming up, and I just loved the school itself, the location, everything about the school. I know it's on the smaller side. So that did that impact you as well? Because I know that at Morristown Friends, you said you graduated with like 70 something kids. I mean, this is just a bigger version of Morristown Friends. If you really think about it, I would assume the classes would be on the smaller side versus where I went to at Rutgers. There could be 100 something people in a class in an actual like lecture hall. So did
Yeah,
that affect it? Did that affect your decision too?
definitely. I didn't. I should have brought that up in what I just said, but that was a huge part of where I was deciding to go to, and me also learning from where my siblings went. My brother goes to Michigan. If you go to a Michigan football game, you're like, I feel like I'm at an NFL game. Like all these people are here to cheer on these college kids. Like it's insane. And then obviously for Purdue, also in the Big Ten, huge school. I mean, I could see why my sister really wanted to go there, but at the same time, I was like, I want to be that in like a little bit of a smaller, tight knit community where like I know a lot more people and I'm not just seeing like complete strangers all the time. It'll be like I just like that sense of community that I found at Morristown Friends, and I did want to keep that in college.
Wow. So have you decided what you would like to pursue in college as far as your major?
Yes, so I was accepted to the nursing school, and I'm so excited about that. That's my absolute dream job, and I'm really excited to start classes because I haven't yet. But it's gonna be challenging, but I think More Sun Friends definitely prepared me for college, especially the science classes at More Sun Friends.
Now, have you had any kind of experience in the medical field, like volunteering or, shadowing or anything like that to, kind of like give you an idea of what nursing is going to be about?
I actually haven't, but because of the coronavirus, I was supposed to for there you have to do a senior internship in the month of May, like as a graduation requirement. But obviously I couldn't do that because I would be like around coronavirus patients. So I was going to, but I actually couldn't. And then also I didn't really know I wanted to be a nursing major percent until probably the end of my junior year. Um, but I know like my sister wants to be a physical therapist and she's shadowed and she's loved it. Something I definitely want to do like freshman year, maybe at a hospital or
Yeah, I mean,
something.
it's definitely going to be a good experience just to give you a little taste because there's so many different, areas of nursing. So my mom is a nurse, and she's actually a nurse practitioner now. She does rounds for a renal group, so she does a lot of dialysis patients. My mom was an ICU nurse in Marlton for just shy of 42 years. And my sister, actually, after going to St. Joe's, and she was a marketing major, she went back to college and she got her nursing degree. So now she kind of took over the family, I guess, legacy at Virtua here, and she's in the ICU unit now. So my family has a lot of medical people in it, a lot of nurses. So I can understand it's a great field. And it's a great opportunity for you to be at Villanova. And I know you're just going to do great things with it. And I'm kind of sad thinking about this right now because we're getting to the tail end of this interview, and I've just really just loved listening to you and learning about you, and this is just fantastic. I know Villanova is going to be a great place. I already was talking to Coach Brunswick, and I would say, you know what, I would love to get like some kind of trip to go to Villanova and watch you play a game and get some of the girls, from the area that wanted to go and just go watch. I mean, that's the one cool thing that I notice is happening now in South Jersey basketball. I noticed that I've seen you at a lot of the basketball games, supporting and watching and scouting the different teams. And I think that's what basketball is all about. Your adversaries on the court, but I think you all have a lot of things in common. You're all driven, you're all committed, you're all competitive, you're hardworking. You want to strive to be the best you can be, and I think that's the one thing that you girls have in common. And I want people to realize that South Jersey girls basketball has really, wonderful young ladies and unbelievable athletes as well. Compared to the rest of the state, we just are kind of like hidden a little bit. We're just a little bit on the unknown side, and my goal and my hope is that they
Yeah.
learn more about us, and these podcasts, I mean, believe it or not, I mean, people give me great feedback on, the players. And you said it earlier, getting to know the players a little bit more. And one of the reasons why I focus on that is because it makes you want to cheer for that person. There's some intense rivalries that are in sports. And if you were from a different school, I might not cheer for you because you are a rival. But listening to this podcast, I realize you're just a lot like my own daughter, and I want to see you succeed.
Yeah.
I mean, this is fun. This is exciting. And I would love to take her to
Mhm.
watch you and show her, like, hey, this is what it's like at the next level. This is what it's like going to be in college. And maybe you can talk to young girls and let them know, this is what it takes and this is what it's like at the next level. So maybe a follow-up interview to say, hey, I just finished my first year. This is what it's all about. This is fantastic. All right, so I
Mhm.
want to ask you a couple more questions, probably two more. The one thing I'm going to ask you is, what would you, say to a young lady? So let's say that there's a girl that's in middle school or a girl that's in high school and they would like to play in college. So what are some, words of advice? What are some things that you would tell them to help encourage them and to keep them on the path of being able to play in college?
Um, I would say that confidence is key. It's so important because if you don't believe that you can do it, then you're not going to be able to do it, like plain and simple. So, just believing that you're confident and believing that you can play at the next level, like telling yourself that from a young age. And I know that there's points, and there was for me, where I'm like, there's absolutely no way I can do this. Like, I'm not good enough. Like, I can't. Like, I remember a particular moment for me where I thought that after a game, like in eighth grade, like a bad loss. I was like, there's no way I can do, like, I'm not good enough. But those are just all negative thoughts getting in the way of your goals. And if you really want to play at the next level, you have to put in work outside of practice and, be the first one at practice, be the last one to leave. Um, you know, if you have like a 2 hour practice, staying after to get extra shots or on an off day, not killing yourself with like lifting and running and stuff like that, but going to get shots up and more than what your teammates would be doing. Like I think of it as a competition, obviously, but like I'm not taking an off day, like I'm going to get shots up. So putting in work outside the games also very important. And like I said, just it's easier said than done, but not doubting yourself and believing that you truly can. And then like I know that was encouragement, but ways to actually get recruited is, AAU teams and obviously play for your school. But there's so many great AAU teams around South Jersey that you can get involved in, and I think that's really important. But my biggest piece of
So
advice
my
is
question to you
confidence.
is, how did it feel like sometimes? Because I know that there's probably pressure, and if you watch social media, you see this person writes, "Oh, I'm so happy or so blessed to get an offer from X, Y, and Z," and those are people that are you would consider your peers, and this person's getting an offer, and that person's getting an offer. Um, how did you deal with the fact that these different things are happening on social media with your recruiting? I mean, did it ever make you feel like self-conscious about it, or scared about your recruitment at all?
I completely, yeah, I completely agree with that. How like people will post like every offer that they get, or like obviously I get like posting when you're committed, but seeing when other people get offers like that, it can be intimidating, especially if you're like playing on the same team, or you play for the same organization, maybe a different team. It can be intimidating, but at the same time, you're playing against girls that have offers all the time, and everyone's gonna have like a bad game. Like I remember we were playing a girl in AAU, and like my coach is like, she's going to like Iowa, and we were like, what? And you know, she didn't. We shut her down because like we know she was going to Iowa. So you can't really believe everything you see on social media either, and it's all about who's gonna show up on the court and play that day. Like your offer isn't gonna go and like show everyone like, oh, like this girl's going to Iowa. Like you have to show people that you deserve to be going to like a really good school. Like your tweet can't really show people that you deserve to be going there. You have to show it on the court. And that's why I think I was very quiet about my recruitment, and I didn't really want people knowing where I was getting offers from. Obviously, if they asked and they were a close friend or like a reporter, I would tell them. But it was just personal. Like I wanted to keep it between me and my family. It was a decision I was making, and I didn't want anyone's opinion on where I got an offer from. I obviously didn't want to make anyone feel like bad, that like especially my teammates. We didn't like brag to each other where we get offers from. We even rarely asked each other where we got them from. And I think that's important. And that was just personal. I just wanted my privacy and to make my decision
Yeah,
without
that's
anyone
great.
else's
I mean,
opinion.
that's just like, so it's taken over, social media anymore, and Twitter and Instagram and all that, and it's just overwhelming. So I think just maybe focusing on yourself and focusing on your goals is the way to go. So I'm going to ask you one more thing, and then we'll get ready to say goodbye.
Hmm.
Um, so typically for seniors that have graduated, we give them a little opportunity to kind of like thank the people that have helped them along the way. I mean, for you to be able to say that you graduated high school at Moorestown Friends School, and now that you're committed to Villanova, you're going to be playing at Villanova, you're going to be a nursing student at Villanova. I mean, those are all great things to be, proud of and to celebrate. But I know you didn't do it all by yourself. You had parents and family and teammates and coaches. And I know it's hard to like, name every single person, but I'm sure, maybe you like to take a little moment to kind of, mention, a couple of things and maybe say thank you.
Yeah, so I would definitely have to start with my parents. I know we talked about them a lot in this, and just like how like right they raised me to be just a humble and confident um person just in our world, where obviously on the court and off the court, their support that they gave me, and obviously like they love they showed me, and all the sacrifices that both of them had made for me to make my life possible in general, but also make my basketball career possible, to be able to play at this next level. And like I'm talking hours of my mom sitting through practices and driving me across the country to tournaments, and then my dad getting on a train to make my game 5 minutes like early, to make my game like just on time. Rearranging a schedule to make my games and stuff like that. Like it's really important. It's really important. I know like they don't like to tell me that like they're tired or like because they want to see me succeed, and they're running me around all day. And I saw that as I got older, that like my parents did like everything for me growing up, like in terms of driving me everywhere for every sport. And they wanted to put me in those sports, like they wanted to expose me to a different array of things. Yeah, but just thank you for their support and their sacrifices and everything. Then next, I would have to say my siblings also, but they're categorized like my family, for always pushing me and being there for me, and toughen me up as a little kid being the youngest sibling. So, and I'm glad I still have a close relationship with them now. And then next, I would say just Moorestown Friends School in general, and my coaches and my teammates, Mr. Brunswick, and all my teammates for pushing me every practice to be better. Like I know they would always make comments about like how aggressive I'm playing. And they're like, I don't want to guard her. Like she's gonna like, cause I guess I'm known for like throwing elbows without even knowing it. So just doing things like that and like stepping up to the plate and playing me tough when you don't want to, making me a better player. And I hope I did that for them too. And I'm gonna miss MFS a lot. I'm gonna miss Mr. Brunswick and all my teammates a lot. And then lastly, I would say thank you to the Philadelphia Bells, because that was my AAU organization. I played for Coach Mike Steidel and April Steidel since fourth grade, all through last summer. So I guess junior year summer. Um, Thank you to that organization for exposing me to the best talent, the best competition I could ever have. I was just exposed to so many opportunities, and by that I mean like with recruiting, like the tournaments we would go to. We were freshmen, and there would be like 20 college coaches watching us, just because, not just because we have Philadelphia Bells in our jerseys, but just because we're a Philadelphia Bells team, we have to be good, and that's why those coaches were there. I couldn't thank the organization enough, and obviously I can't thank Coach Mike and April Seidel enough, because they're like a second family to me, and I know that they'll always be there for me, whatever I want. When we talk, me and Coach Mike, usually it's not even usually basketball related. It's just like, hey, how are you? And then it'll be like, how's basketball at the end of it. So, thank you. I hope I didn't miss anyone, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I know it's hard, but I'll tell you what, man. I think you've gained a lot of fans in South Jersey. You've given everybody in South Jersey, you've set a good example and set the bar high. And now for these young girls coming up, for them to follow in your footsteps and make their own name for themselves, and for them to be able to compete and just put South Jersey get basketball on the map is going to be, a great challenge for them. But I know they're going to rise to the occasion, and I really hope that we as a community can support our local South Jersey girls athletes. So if you're playing in town, or any of the girls are playing, maybe you'll see some people from the different schools come out to cheer you on. I know I'm going to be following your career for the next 4 years, and I'm definitely excited to to see you do well in Villanova. You're going to do fantastic. You're going to have a wonderful experience, and you're going to be an unbelievable nurse. I have no doubts.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
just want to say thank you for coming on the podcast. I know we talked for a pretty long time, but I mean, I think I could talk to you for hours, because you're just an easy person to talk to, and I just loved hearing your stories. Do me a favor and just please send my regards to your family. Just tell them, I said hello and I was asking for them, and to your brother as well and your sister. I hope they continue to do well and keep making us proud. And Bella, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a
Bye
great
bye.
time.